Welcome to Fomo Consulting for your daily AMC stock analysis video on Monday, May 10th. Ladies and gentlemen, this just got very, very real. And as always, the apes are winning, the diamond hands are winning, the retail investor is winning. If you find this video informative and entertaining, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It is a new channel and I would certainly appreciate the support. Let's get into the video. So first of all, I want to thank everyone who has liked, shared, commented, and subscribed. Again, I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. So let's start with a quote from the legendary, late, and great Kobe Bryant. Everything negative, pressure, challenges are all opportunities for me to rise. No doubt it has been a challenge to invest in AMC stock, GME as well, with the price manipulation, the negative hit pieces from a journalistic standpoint, all of the naysayers. It has certainly been a challenge. However, we do at this point have our opportunity to rise. Let's look at the broader market. So overall, pretty rough day in the market. All three major indices substantially down. Tech took yet another big hit. The blue chips took some pretty big hits. A lot of anxiety in the market right now. However, AMC performed valiantly and heroically today. Very, very strong. So I'm sure this woke everybody up after hours, got everybody excited. So this was about 3 million in volume from the time of the closing bell to around this point. No doubt there was some covering, albeit controlled. They certainly kept their foot on the brake pedal, but I would definitely say this was around 3 million in volume regarding covering. So let's move forward. So the stock today performed very, very well. We had just a strong day. Pre-market was strong, started strong. Obviously the normal sell-off at the bell, and then we just kind of bounced around the 980 to 960 level throughout most of the day. But it was a exceptionally strong day, and as you can see, AMC performed very well against the overall broader market. There was certainly a sell-off towards the end of the afternoon. We closed at $9.74, up 23 cents or 2.42%. I will certainly take that. After hours, obviously we had the big skyrocket. We are currently at the time of this recording at $10.43. Up 69 cents after hours or 7.08%, which is certainly very, very good going into tomorrow. So let's look at the technicals, and I'll try to make this as simple as I can. Obviously, the moving average on the top of the yellow arrow is starting to bend around on the daily, back around to a very bullish direction. The MACD, after our beatdown from last week and all the manipulation and short attacks, is starting to curl back towards a bullish crossover direction. I certainly have my hopes, and I believe 1 or 2 more green days we will certainly accomplish that. So let's look a little closer here. So this is the daily chart, the hourly chart by day. We are certainly in a bullish direction by the yellow arrow on the simple moving average, and we are just crossing over from a MACD perspective back into bullish territory after last week. So I am exceptionally bullish going forward on this stock. When in doubt, zoom out, bigger picture, starting getting close to that MACD bullish crossover yet again. Moving average is flattening out, and I believe after tomorrow, if we have another green day, we will certainly be back in bullish territory from a moving average perspective. But no doubt we are continuing our upward ascent. So let's look at kind of the channel we've been trading in. We've been bouncing around that $9 to $11.50 range pretty much since mid-March, when we came down from our more recent high of $14.54. We've just been bouncing around that channel. If we break out of that $11.50 channel and stay there for any amount of time, I have no doubt whatsoever we will fly to the moon. So different perspective. This is from Yahoo Finance. This is a moving average envelope, obviously going back to early January, but you can clearly see we are heading in a very bullish direction over the longer term. So, little secret, I always like to get kind of pumped up before the market opens. So I would suggest, if you have never listened to this, listen to some music that surrounding making money, kind of get your day started in a positive direction. Certainly the Steve Miller Band, Take the Money and Run, is certainly a fantastic choice, and I suggest you listen to it when you have a moment. It's a great song, great band. So as always, all of the rules and regulations, 006 went into effect last week. I do believe that had a bit of an effect today and probably this week, but we are waiting on some other key regulations to go into effect, and I believe those will come into effect sooner rather than later. So go figure, excerpt from Market Watch of all people. Actually, with some bullish sentiment around some of the key resistance and support levels. Feel free to look at it. It just came out about an hour ago. Go figure. Market Watch, right? So I've shown this a few days in a row. I do believe the diamond triangle is real. I believe there is no escape for our opponent except to squeeze. AMC is clearly recovering. Strong company, rules and regulation are coming into effect daily, it would appear, and the apes, as always, are holding the major level of support. They cannot escape. The walls are closing in. So quick reminder again how the stock reacted after the early November earnings report. Obviously, we hit our low point at earnings, and then we rocketed up from the $2 level up to $5 in a couple of weeks. This stock, for whatever reason, seems to react in a bullish direction regardless of results after earnings. Here is the early March 2021 earnings report. Hit a low point at the orange bar leading up to earnings and then rocketed up to $14.54, more recent high. So let's look at the bigger picture for Mortex. This goes back approximately 1 year. The trend lines are all the short data trend lines, the shares on loan, free float on loan, exchange reported short interest, estimated short interest, and estimated short interest percentage of free float. So you can see all of those trend lines are clearly moving upwards, which only benefits us. More recently, the trend lines came down just a little bit. I do believe that they were exiting some positions, preparing for the earnings report, but as you can see in the nearer term, they have made a U-turn and they've decided they are going to continue to short this and increase their positions, increase the interest. All of the key indicators are heading up. However, the yellow arrow at the bottom clearly indicates one thing, in my opinion. They are running out of ammunition. You can clearly see going back to when we were at $14, they had a lot of firepower back then. You look at the gray volume bars more recently, they're more sporadic. They are less full. They aren't as tall. Then they certainly are decreasing more recently. Again, I believe at 100% utilization, they are just recycling. And this is what this looks like. So they obviously have their return shares, then they reborrow simultaneously. And that is a rinse and repeat daily, and we've seen it over the last week to 10 days. And this is what this looks like. They start out with their borrowed shares, they return them simultaneously, borrowing additional new shares, rinse and repeat, right? As you can see by the gray volume bars and how they do it. This is how the stock reacted after each and every earnings report going back 1 year, back to early part of 2020. The stock price traditionally has ran up in and around earnings or shortly thereafter. They borrow a bunch of shares, short it right back down. At this point, it is clear they are running out of firepower, as evidenced by the very far right The volume bars are more sporadic and they're not as dense. And here's another key data point around exactly what I'm saying. So this was close of market on Friday. The green arrow are the return shares. They returned on Friday by market close 350,000 shares. However, they borrowed over 5 million shares. That difference is 4.67 million shares, which is why I believe the borrow fee has skyrocketed today, as well as other key indicators. So let's look at today. They started out the morning returning only 432,000 shares. However, they borrowed an additional 223,000. Going back to what I said, they are running out of ammunition. They're already carrying the 4.67 million shares, and they did not return those today. So let's look at market close today. They returned 1.17 million shares today at market close, but they borrowed 1.28 million for a borrow change of about 110,000 shares. They did not return those 4.6 million shares, which is why I believe the short borrow fee rate has skyrocketed, as well as all the other failures to deliver and other borrowed shares they already have in hand. So clearly, as you can see, they did not turn those in. However, the after hours big spike in volume of around 3 million and the price action that followed suit, I believe they returned some of those shares, or quote unquote covered, which is why we saw the price fly up about $1. So let's look at the open interest for all the options expiring this Friday. The red areas are, I would say, the extremes of our battlefield. Really the lowest point in the fight and the highest point in the fight this week. Yellow would be more cautionary. Green, I believe, is where the real fight is, between $10 and $11. You can clearly see there are a little over 40,000 open interest contracts on the call side between $10 and $11. However, there are very few on the put side. The put side has open interest concentrated between 9 and 950, a little bit around 10, but nowhere to the extreme of the call side, which is great news for us. Very, very bullish, right? So let's look at the big sales. Today is the first day I have not seen an extraordinarily large option buy-ins, whether it's puts or calls from a hedging perspective, which I find to be very interesting. However, most of this is on the call side. This really sticks out. Friday we were 2.5 to 1 from a call to put ratio. We are nearly 4 to 1 as of market close today. 4 to 1 on calls versus puts. That is enormous. That is nearly 80%. That is exceptionally bullish. So let's look at the short data. As of market close, a couple odd things that occurred. There are 2 less institutional owners. This is the first day I found that there are actually 2 less institutional owners as opposed to increasing. So we'll watch that over the coming days. The retail also dropped about 5%. We've been hovering at close to 80%. We are at 74.1. Retail investors, some have actually sold out their positions, it would appear, which is probably why they were able to cover to some degree, possibly after hours. We'll see how this plays out over the coming days. 38 million was our total volume during intraday trading. Short shares available, an extraordinarily low 4,000 shares available at the time of this recording. Short borrow fee has absolutely skyrocketed according to Fintel. At the time of this recording, 73.25%. That is exceptionally high, as everyone can imagine. The Ortex data is quite a bit different. If you look at the top, estimated percent of short interest to free float is about the same as Friday. So today's data is on the top, just to remind everyone. Percent free float on loan is about the same, around 36% to 37%. Shares on loan went up drastically today by 3 million. There may be a lag from exactly what I was saying from Friday. They had 4.6 million in their possession at market close. Days to cover keeps trickling up. I do believe we are between 3 and 4 days, as opposed to what you're seeing at 1.68. Again, it's how you calculate it. Cost to borrow has gone up about 4%, even on Ortex to 16.15. Utilization remains at 100%, which is exceptionally bullish. So let's talk about that short borrow fee. So I found an older article. This article goes back, it's on Yahoo, feel free to look it up. Goes back to December 19th, 2019. So I wanted to look at the highest short borrow fee stocks at any given time. Didn't really matter to me. So I just picked a couple off of their list. So the highest one is LMNL. But for this illustration purpose, we're going to use Beyond Meat, which was number 3 on the list, BYND. At the time of that report, again, 12/19/2019, they had a 59.5% borrow fee. The date of the article is the orange bar right in the middle of the screen. If you look, and again, this is the daily chart, so about 2 weeks after, the price skyrocketed from the low 70s all the way up to close to $130 per share. Around $50 increase, call it a squeeze, call it whatever you want. Let's look at another one. Let's look at the top one. LMNL had an 80.4% borrow fee at the time of this article. As evidenced by the orange bar, date of the article. About a week afterwards, the price went from about $5.50 and shot all the way up to $19.49. Again, this is not AMC. It is not held by the apes. At that time, I have no doubt with all the failures to deliver, synthetic shares, whatever you want to call it, the shares on loan, I have no doubt this is our future, and once it does, it's not going to look anything like this. It will certainly look closer to GME, in my opinion. So as always, I have skin in the game. Decent little day. We had a good little run-up. I'm expecting more bullish sentiment, bullish price action for the remainder of the week. And at this point, I adjusted my bold prediction somewhere between $10 and $11.50, keeping in mind they still have the ability to borrow shares, albeit limited. They are going to fight. They are going to do everything they possibly can to suppress this price, but I do not believe they can hold us back much longer. So let's end with a quote by Jon Stewart, fantastic comedian. The internet is just a world passing notes around a classroom. Isn't that the truth? This very video, Reddit, StockTwits, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, wherever you get your information, that's all we're doing is just passing along information, passing notes around, giving them a legitimacy test. At the end of the day, we are just one big classroom, are we not? So as always, I want to thank you for watching. If you found the video informative and entertaining, please like, share, comment, and certainly subscribe. It is a newer channel, and I would definitely appreciate your support. I hope you have a great day, and as always, I hope your life is full of green candles. See you soon.